Do you lead Zoom meetings that are inspiring and productive? In this video, we're going to look at three principles from Appreciative Inquiry, an approach that is designed to foster positive change and collaboration within teams and organizations. But so often our Zoom meetings are uninspiring, they're time consuming, and they don't really get us where we're going. And so in this video, I'm going to take a look at three core principles of the five from Appreciative Inquiry and how they can inform our Zoom meetings to really make them a lot more interesting and exciting for our people, really productive and inspiring toward action after we gather on Zoom. Hey, my name is Josh Friberg, and in this channel, what we take a look at is how we can make more conscious gatherings when we come together as people, whether in person or more frequently in the virtual environment like Zoom or Microsoft Teams, something like that. I am a certified Xchange guide, and what that means is that I have studied to learn how to create deep human connection at speed and scale. And if you're interested in that sort of thing, would love for you to subscribe to the channel and like this video. So as I mentioned in this video, we're going to take a little bit deeper dive into some of the principles of Appreciative Inquiry. And Appreciative Inquiry is an amazing change model out of Case Western Reserve University, designed by David Cooperrider and others. And it has been something that's really taken the corporate world by storm, particularly when we're looking at change models and activating all parts of a human system. Now, human system, that may sound a little bit technical. We're just talking about groups of people, right? Communities, maybe your sales team, maybe your work environment, whatever it is. Well, here's what happened, right? You all remember 5 years ago, we suddenly got thrust in this world of online meetings. Before that, it was like bad teleconferences, the occasional like GoToMeetings meeting, which was really just a broadcast that we all watched simultaneously. And we moved into this new environment of Zoom meetings. Now, I'd actually been participating in Zoom meetings for like 3 or 4 years before that. So I was very comfortable with the environment. In fact, I had met many of my best friends already, first virtually and then eventually in person. But many of us went into Zoom really resistant. Well, why is that? It's because when we meet in person, we already have like norms and ways of meeting that make sense, that have been cultivated over, literally millennia of human interaction. But all of a sudden, when we had to do it on Zoom, it got a little bit wonky. Well, at that same time, I was introduced through Xchange to this idea of appreciative inquiry. And appreciative inquiry has some really incredible principles that have looked deeply at how human systems work, how group genius emerges, right? To use Sawyer's phrase, how we can actually have an intelligence that's more than just a bunch of individual intelligences, but actually a group intelligence that exists, that's available to us when we have the right interaction patterns. So let's take a look at those three principles from Appreciative Inquiry that can help us with our Zoom meeting. And the first one is what's called the Constructionist Principle. And it's this idea that words create worlds, right? That when we are observing and we are describing objective reality and subjective reality for that matter, that the words that we use decide and determine how we understand and interact with that world outside of us. That's a little bit, again, a little bit wonky sounding, but here's what it means for you, is that when we gather our people together, we have the opportunity to introduce words and language that determine the direction that our teams and our people go. And what's even better is when we actually collectively start inviting their vocabulary and words into that conversation. Well, what does this look like? I was struck decades ago by something that Andy Stanley said in the book Visioneering. And it was this idea that you will know that your people in your team, people in your organization understand your vision when you start hearing it back from them. When we gather in Zoom, we have the opportunity to share vision with people by giving them the words, the phrases to use to describe what it is that we're all working toward. And so we can use this constructionist principle to help create the world that our little community lives in, that our little community creates together as we are looking to, sell more widgets, as we're looking to solve a problem within our community, as we're, celebrating a birthday, whatever it might be. Taking note and being careful about the words that we choose and inserting those into a Zoom meeting. Well, what might that look like, right? It might look like beginning with a question, right? Beginning with a question that says, hey, we need more you're bringing a sales team together to improve sales for Q2, right? For the second quarter. And so you begin by saying, who will be impacted, changed, right? Have their life improved when we increase sales in the second quarter, right? Now, all of a sudden, we're not talking just about selling more widgets. We're not just talking about number of sales calls, but we're actually talking about lives changed, lives improved, lives impacted. Well, that's really inspiring. And it begins to create a language and a world to operate under that's a little bit different than, to use Office Space, right? Than TPS reports and making sure those are in on time. So that's the Constructionist Principle. Next principle is something called the Simultaneity Principle. Whoa. Okay, hold on. Don't worry. It just means that many things are happening at once when we gather. And in particular, it's this idea that inquiry creates change. That actually asking the question is actually part of the process. Because, see, when we ask a question, particularly in a group, the question points us in a direction, right? The question says what's important to the community. Why is it important for us to increase sales? Whose lives will be impacted? Who will be changed, right? If we're designing, a charity event, right? When we think through what difference will this make in the world, when we ask that question, we're actually already creating the change that we want. Now, here's how else appreciative inquiry could be so effective in our Zoom meetings for something like this, right? Because again, our Zoom meetings so often just get used to broadcast data. When we ask an important question and we give people an opportunity to respond to that question, maybe use a breakout room, a strategic breakout room, put people in groups of 2 or 3 or 4 and have them discuss a question, even if we're not able to hear the response to that question, right? We're not in the breakout room. We already know things are happening in that room, that people are already having amazing conversations and creating their own imagination, their own picture of what the future might look like. And so that's the simultaneity principle, the idea that the question itself is an intervention, right? Instead of just giving orders within a meeting, right, is actually to ask a question and allow people to create their own action steps coming out of it. This brings us to our last big idea, is what's called the anticipatory principle. Here's what it means. It means that human systems move toward shared images, right? If I said, hey, you and me, we're going on a trip, right? We're gonna go on a road trip, and we're gonna go visit the Grand Canyon. We're gonna be able to see those amazing views. We're gonna drive through the Arizona desert. It's gonna be beautiful. Oh my gosh, we're gonna have, iced tea in the cup holder. We're gonna have the top down on a convertible. We're gonna be cruising through the sun, and then we're gonna come up to the edge of that Grand Canyon. We're gonna be able to see those amazing views, right? When you have an inspiring image that a group of people is moving towards, those human systems get powerfully activated. And in particular, when we do this in Zoom, right, rather than you just describing the picture of your vision, is you actually invite people to imagine what that might look like. Let's go back to our example, right? Second quarter, we're trying to improve sales, right? We say, hey, let's imagine it's July 1st. We've just finished second quarter, and we increased sales by 20%, right? Each salesperson on our team increased sales. We've impacted the lives of 20% more people. You've earned 20% more commissions. What will that do for you? What, using images, pictures, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel in the midst of that? What change would that create for you? And we give people an opportunity to craft those, to work on those, to think those through, to develop vivid images, visuals, sensory, right, data here of what they're moving toward. It not only moves them individually toward it, it actually moves the whole human system toward it, the same way it would in our road trip to the Grand Canyon, right? Because now we have a shared image of what that's going to look like, feel like, sound like, smell like, taste like, right? Same thing with our sales meeting. Now people can start to see it because somebody says, oh my gosh, I'll be able to pay off some debt. Oh my gosh, that'll really impact the lives of these customers that I've been working with. Oh my goodness, that'll allow me to have a really amazing, vacation over the 4th of July weekend. People have these images. Oh, that'll finally allow us to invest in a new product that we wanted to offer next year. And people see that, they feel it, they hear it. That inspires action. That inspires really powerful action, right? This is why so often our Zoom meetings aren't that inspiring, is because we aren't taking advantage of the humanity that's available to us within the system. That we have a meeting, but then we just sort of talk at people, right? We use it as sort of a simultaneous YouTube recording, right? To simply talk at folks. What we can do though is we can create really powerful experiences for folks when we use the tools available to us within Zoom, right? The technological tools that allow us to do breakout rooms, chats, hear from people, right? Use polls, use interactive experiences. But not only that, to also take advantage of the fact that we have human systems, that we have a gathering, right? You look at those 25 boxes on your screen, that's 25 individual intelligences, 25 people with experience, with knowledge, with incredible insight. And then when we bring them together with the right interaction patterns, we can create group genius, really powerful sort of additional intelligences available beyond just the 25 individual intelligences. This is one of the incredible ways that appreciative inquiry becomes this tool that dovetails so well with Zoom, becomes almost like a human technology together with a computer technology that comes together to create something that's greater than the two independently of one another. I'd encourage you to take a closer look at how appreciative inquiry could be used to make more inspiring, more productive meetings when you do gather on Zoom. And if you have more questions about how you can use these types of tools to make your Zoom meetings better, I'd love to talk with you, see how you can help. See if maybe Xchange would be a great tool for you to go through the process of becoming an Xchange certified guide. Would love to help you with that as well. As you think through your meetings, consider how something like appreciative inquiry together with Zoom can elevate your gathering.